This mayor needs to go to jail. That's the way it is. He's stealing taxpayers' money. He's committing crime. He's running a mafia out of city Detroit government. He's going to run this place dry, and he's going to leave it. That's what he's going to do.
Detroit City Councilman Gabe Leland is free on his own recognizance tonight after his arraignment on bribery charges. It's a charge that could land him in federal prison for 10 years.
We're going to trial. If that doesn't say I'm innocent, I don't know what else you can say about it. You know what I mean? Most cases over here, 95% result in guilty pleas. This one won't.
Breaking news, Gabe Leland pleads guilty to misconduct in office and resigns.
My name is Robert Carmack, and I was part of a corruption investigation on Gabe Leland. Well, Gabe Leland tries to extort me for $30,000, and he does that on an FBI wiretap.
Did that land go through, or what?
No, I just held it up.
You held it up?
Yep.
Okay, well, just, hey, let me know what I gotta do, that's all.
But first I was tried to be squeezed by Kwame Kirkpatrick, which was really Derek Miller during the Kirkpatrick administration. I was trying to get a land deal. When Mayor Duggan got in there, he tried to squeeze me. Also, he tried to get me higher because I pay him $10,000 a month for 2 or 3 months. I wouldn't do that, so I went to City Council. I complained to the planning department, which was Gabe Leland.
Prosecutors accused Leland of accepting $7,500 in cash. In exchange, he had promised a businessman he'd vote a certain way on a land deal.
And at that time, he gets indicted. They had him on video and audio of taking federal money, $7,500, right? He settled for $15,000. So he took 2 payments he was going to take. He took one for $7,500, and he was going to get another one for $7,500. But the feds did not give him the other $7,500. They had enough by him taking that $7,500. Well, that case, he gets indicted. He's going through the process of court and so forth. All of a sudden, for some reason, the feds let it go as a state case. Well, guess what? There's nobody in the United States of America that took federal money that gets indicted, right? And they say it's a state case.
Gabe Leland has been under the federal microscope for 3 years, indicted by the feds for bribery in 2018. Then today, he gets charged not federally, but a state charge. What's going on? I called Leland's attorney, Steve Fishman, who gave us this statement. Listen very closely. Quote, I am pleased that the government and I were able to agree to resolve Councilman Leland's case in state court.
Okay? Every person that's gone to the city government has had a federal case. That was federal money. It was a federal case. It was not a state case. But they gave it to the state. They gave it to Monroe County Prosecutor's Office, who took it. And they gave him, probation.
He has been a thorn in the side of Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan throughout this entire year. Robert Carmack. He flew banners over stadiums. He had a private detective follow the mayor around town, trying to expose alleged corruption.
He should be in jail. Lock this guy up. Yeah. That's what I say.
Then a year later, I get a drunk driving. Well, I get a drunk driving because Duggan's people are following me with a 3-man team. And, Duggan's mad at me because the reason why I got in all this trouble, because guess what? I caught the mayor of Detroit cheating on his wife. I put a billboard truck on the city-county building before these charges, right, showing that he was having another affair with a girl from DMC. So this affair here ended up being on a billboard, then it became publicized, right? Then that's one of the reasons why he brought false charges on me, to shut me down and shut me up.
Detroit businessman Robert Carmack has now been charged with 4 felonies. He's the man, you'll recall, who hired a private investigator to tail Mayor Duggan and then had a mobile video board driving around City Hall showing that video.
And the situation is that, heck, I got the drunk driving after he followed me for a year, but I didn't even have a key to me on the car on me. So I got a signed drunk driving ticket by Dana Nesto, who Duggan helped run her campaign.
So we've just learned that there's been 4 felony warrants signed for your arrest. Does it surprise you that this happened just after you rented the Jumbotron and embarrassed the mayor?
I tell you, my attorney told me not to talk. He told me to say no comment at this period of time.
You know, during this period of time, they bring charges on me where I stole a deed. Well, this deed I got back in 2007. They got no witnesses. They got no documentation. I was falsely accused, and I was a federal witness. And I told the FBI that, you know, I ain't done nothing wrong. I got a deed in the mail. It was mailed to my house, right? It was for the money I spent on this waterfront deal. I didn't pay Duggan or anybody off to get the land deal. So the feds don't do anything. They just flushed me down the road. You know, they didn't investigate the deal. I told them, listen, you got to interfere with this. I'm your witness. They let me get indicted. They put me in general population being a federal witness, which is insane. You know, I was their witnesses. This guy brought these false charges on me, and the FBI just let me be flushed down the toilet. I was in court for 5 years because guess what? He doesn't want nobody to know what he's done and so forth. I asked for his text messages, phone records, and all that just before I got charged. Once he put that charge on, they had put a freeze on that case, and I still ain't got his phone records, text messages. Well, Kwame Kirkpatrick, they got his stuff right away. This guy, he doesn't have to follow the law.
Carmack's been doing everything he can to try to get the mayor under oath.
Controversial Detroit businessman waging a public war with Mayor Mike Duggan.
Businessman who's been waging a public war on Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan.
A Detroit businessman who has pointed fingers at Detroit's Mayor Mike Duggan for alleged wrongdoing says he's finally been vindicated. Robert Carmack and his attorney Steve Haney stood outside City Hall Monday to announce that a judge has dismissed all charges against Carmack in a city land dispute case.
He was charged with multiple felonies, including deed fraud, forgery, counterfeit.
Carmack's attorney says the timing of the charges 4 years ago coincided with Carmack releasing a video of Mayor Duggan
with a billboard showing the mayor engaged in some conduct with a woman who was not his wife. Within 30 days, Bob Carmack was charged.
Shortly after the surveillance video was shown, the mayor and his then-wife divorced, and the mayor would eventually marry the woman who was the topic of that surveillance video.
It's our strong belief the only reason Bob Carmack was charged because he was retaliated against by Mike Duggan. Malicious prosecution, false imprisonment, false arrest.
The only way that type of information gonna be brought to the light is if a person have to legally challenge them in order to do something about that. That's the only way you can challenge these issues once these governments go wrong. They know that.
They know these lawyers ain't gonna challenge.
They know the lawyer. They got them all. They feeding them. Who gonna challenge? It's a legal problem, and most people don't know the law, and they got the lawyers bought.
I started this documentary with the intention to showcase the lawsuit against Detroit's mayor and city council led by Ramon Jackson and Stephen Shelton. But instead, the corruption became a story of its own, from the mayor's office to the election office, all the way to the governor's office and even the court system.
The results in the race for Detroit City Clerk causing some controversy tonight, and now the candidate who lost says he's considering demanding a recount.
Garland Gilchrist had no experience, and you never would see a person go from that type of experience he got to move up to a lieutenant governor.
Mr. Gilchrist, what do you bring to the table in terms of experience for lieutenant governor? The Michigan Republican Party is already saying you're perhaps the least experienced potential lieutenant governor in Michigan history.
Garland Gilchrist have never held a political position before, besides working for Mayor Duggan. That's the only political position that he ever held.
He did social media for Obama.
He did a social media for Obama, which means that he would be good in a tech job, not as the lieutenant governor, where if something happened to her, he becomes governor of the state. He good at tech. That's all his degree is in tech. Everything he did was centered around tech. So why would they take Garland Gilchrist, who never been in a political position, and put him as the lieutenant governor of the state to quiet him down?
Now, Garland Gilchrist, the challenger, says he might want to recount. We bring in Steve Garagiola with more. This is really interesting, Steve, because throughout the evening, Gilchrist was leading most of the night, and then a very dramatic shift occurred late in the evening.
And what happened during that election between him and Janice Winfrey, They just didn't need him to continue to go on talking about that.
It was the closest race in Detroit. Janice Winfrey winning re-election as the city's clerk by a mere 1,400 votes. Early results last night had Gilchrist in the lead, but a late surge attributed to absentee ballots for Winfrey gave her the election.
I think that those are the ones that were starting to come in later, and that's where we started to see the tide shift. And that just causes us, and I think causes voters, to really want to understand what's going on.
What transpired during that election was something that they never ever seen before. Thousands of ballots scattered all, boxes busted open. I'm talking about it was so egregious and so out there that they had to shut him up. And what better way to shut him up than to take him and put him right there next to the white woman. Guess what? He shut all the way up, lips is sealed.
Garland Gilchrist stepped onto the political stage at the highest of levels.
That's why today I am announcing my running mate, and I'm going to introduce you to him right now, Garland Gilchrist.
Winfrey helps Duggan win. Gilchrist running against Winfrey, and he didn't trust Gilchrist to in that position. So he like, we can't have that.
Unfortunately, the city of Detroit has been plagued with election corruption for years.
Karamo held a press conference Monday to voice support for a lawsuit against Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey and the City of Detroit Board of Election Inspectors. At the heart of the lawsuit, the accusations of illegal ballots.
The fraud that we've seen occur is creating a situation where the vote is not being secured.
Here waiting for the squad to show up so we could do this recount for the election in 7th District. That's the district I ran for city council. You know, I didn't get nowhere, but the lady who was supposed to win, Regina Ross, she was cheated out of the election. Me and my group worked to get rid of Gabe Leland, who was found guilty of corruption. We were supposed to get a real community representative like me, but since I didn't make it, Regina Ross was supposed to get elected, and she got cheated. That's why we're doing a recount, to recount how many votes she actually got and how many votes Durhal actually got. In the election for 7th District, Regina Ross was the legitimate candidate, and Fred Durhal was the plug-in by the system. We volunteered to help her do a recount on the election, remember? And we were there at Ramon, it was at Ramon's table where they busted open the box and they counted the ballots, and the ballots did not match the number recorded. And instead of challenging the nose, they said this box cannot be counted at all. It just goes the way it is. And that was so confusing to me, but that's how I realized how they cheat.
As the brother just said, 86 precincts was counted by us. We stayed in the TCF Center for 3 days straight, all day, recounting boxes. We was able to see for ourselves.
They take a few out of every box.
That's right.
Take 5 votes out of every box.
That's right.
It makes it hard to catch, but it's effective. It works. And when you do catch it, they say this box is spoiled. It can't be looked at all anymore. It just goes forward toward the votes that already stand. I ran in 7th District, right?
Can I help you, sir?
My name is Joe Griffin. I'm running for city council. All it takes to qualify is a few hundred signatures. Candidates must also be at least 21 years old and live in Detroit for 1 year or more with a high school diploma or GED. It doesn't require a college degree or even a criminal background check. The reason I ran was because I wanted to show people anybody could run. And that's the concept. And if we got the right heart, the right mind, we can get elected and make a huge difference overnight. Politics controls money. That's the main point of all this information. Billions of dollars are collected and controlled by Detroit's mayor and city council. The money is given to private businesses through contracts in exchange for services the city uses. Detroit's corrupt politician sells those contracts.
FBI is now investigating the mayor's top allies on Detroit City Council, serving search warrants on the homes of Councilmember Janae Ayers and Scott Benson. Councilmember Andre Spivey.
Andre Spivey pleaded guilty to bribery after taking $35,000 from a towing contractor to help him get a lucrative Detroit deal.
black people say they voted already and nothing worked, and they're referring to the presidential vote.
For sure.
Majority what we talk about is the city vote. I guarantee you, if you voted for the president in your lifetime, I guarantee you, we are not talking the same thing when I say we need to vote. When I was working on Leland's recall, I saw how much support Gabe Leland had in my community, my black community, my impoverished black community. They supported him while he was under federal indictment with all the evidence against him. A lot of our elders have gone with whichever way the most power and the most popularity has taken them. That's why we need youth to step up. The anger and passion that they have on frivolous things, if they could apply a small fraction of that to what we doing, that would give us the energy to take control over billions of dollars that we pay out of our pocket in taxes. It's there regardless if we know it's there or not. We can take control of that. Everything that requires power requires strategy, one level or another. But before you even come up with a strategy, you gotta have motive. I'm trying to ask, do black people even want the power that will come from this strategy?